I'm going to try my best to not reinforce exactly why this book was written. I read Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit in 2024. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I wrote this about it. The fact that this book is dated comes as a shock in interesting ways when reading it. Solnit calls out multiple landmark abuse stories that highlight the terrifying power dynamic that has existed between genders for so long, while signaling in their time a transition and growth from society that has covered up and ignored it. Reading it now and realizing the tangible development coming out of these stories is encouraging. But difficulty comes in when she discusses reproductive rights as settled law and even talks about it with other aspects of feminism and rights advances multiple times as genies that can't go back in their bottle. I would love to read any update that she would put together about this now in 2024, as so much of those advances have been challenged or changed in recent years. The fight rages on in ways she couldn't have predicted at the time of this publishing. I'm so happy this book was referred to me. The information and tone is detailed and important and perfect for everyone, especially men who sit obtusely outside the ramifications of their beliefs and actions. I didn't think I was like that, but the message is clear to me to keep learning, keep getting better. There's still so much work to do. In rapid fashion here, Solnit informs, explains, self-analyzes, and ushers in the next generation of feminist evolution. There are hard, important lessons in the essays about how to let go of ego, change inferred boundaries of identity, and how to appreciate our place in the next step towards connecting as a whole people. It's a more accessible, applicable, and relevant text to understand deeply that ego is the enemy. Let me first say that it is not lost on me that Rebecca Solnit is famously known as the person who coined the phrase mansplaining. So I'm going to try to be as brief as possible, even in my praise of this book, because I don't want to contribute to that dynamic that I'm talking about here. The book was first published in 2014, and when I talk about it being dated, and I talk about all of those laws being talked about in the book as settled law, it's tough for me because those laws have been changed. If you haven't read this book and you believe in gender equality and you believe in reproductive rights, it would be good to read this book to see how there was a belief that the advances in gender equality and reproductive rights were believed to be codified, and how just 10 years later, now 12 years later, many of those seemingly solid protections have been eroded. My discussion of ego is the enemy is a reference to an earlier review that I did of a Ryan Holiday book that I felt didn't address enough the problems of ego. I think it works well here because I believe that the problems of ego are problems of identity. And Solnit examines identity and ego in a profound way. I can't emphasize enough. Everyone should read this book, men and women. It's short, 130 pages. It's quick and important, and I'm not trying to explain it. I'm just trying to express my opinion. I think it's awesome, and it's a wonderful reflection on the dynamics between masculine and feminine. It's called Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit. I read it in 2024. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads.